All right, so let's try this again. Let's see if I can get my live stream to work. This is the worst live stream system they have set up I've ever seen in my entire life. I seriously hate YouTube. I don't understand why they change this and make it so difficult for people to use. I hate YouTube. Son of a... I was talking seriously. I already started reviewing. You got to be kidding me. I mean, they have this new system. If you try to schedule a live stream and then you go live, apparently you go live somewhere else where nobody sees you. And then... I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it. Wasting my time. Whoever developed the new YouTube studio system for live streaming needs punched right in the face. Jesus Christ. Hello, everybody. Wow, I have suddenly deja vu. Pathetic. So idiotic. All right. I'm going to have to do a review all over again. All right. So let's go ahead and get started once again. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure all of you pretty much know, I'm doing the live UI UX review. This is a show where you submit your designs. Instructions are in the YouTube description. You go to Discord and you go and you have to assign a role up here, and then you have to click on negative space submissions and then submit your link. I'll be honest with you, I probably won't get to yours because I get to these in sequential order. And if you do want me to get to yours, you have to pay me through a super chat and just mention your Discord username. Now, this episode of The Negative Space is brought to you by Pork Bun, which is also the very first link in the YouTube description. And you will get a free .design domain name if you enter and find your domain name right here. Oink. And so this is great if you're a designer, you have a portfolio, it's your own domain. Big companies like Adobe are already using it. And also you get free Whois privacy, free SSL certificates, free hosting trial, free email trial. Very awesome. Take advantage of that. Let's go ahead and get started. So, hey, please check my portfolio. All right. I already did a review on this about 5 minutes ago, but I guess I'll do it again because nobody saw it. All right. Let's refresh this. It has a little animation, web enthusiast, freelancer, mentor. Kind of goes pretty quick. I wouldn't want it to be any longer because that's kind of frustrating anyways, but it's done pretty quick, so it's not a big deal. Hi, I'm Smith, a full stack developer. I'd like to see either one of these two lines be a little bit more emphasized over the other in terms of size. Probably take a full stack developer and make that quite a bit larger, and take Hi, I'm Smith and make that tiny bit smaller, or a tad bit. I like this picture if that's actually you. Coming down here, could be potentially a little bit light on the color, the contrast. You might want to boost that up a tad bit. Check to see if it's actually passing the WCAG color contrast ratios. I know Firefox has that, and I thought I saw it somewhere in the Google Chrome, which is what I'm using, their DevTools. I thought there was a rating somewhere that you can access. Maybe it's within the CSS somewhere else. Well, whatever. So I would check that. I like these thumbnails. These are pretty good. I would push View All Projects down a little bit more. I would probably left align resume right here because this is being centered. Then we have two columns right here. It's just kind of cattywampus right now. This would help reinforce this and simplify the layout in this section. I guarantee you, based on the size and the font weight of this type in the color, it doesn't have enough contrast. Some people are going to have a hard time reading that, but I like the rest of it. And floating labels, that works well. All right, I like the footer. What do you people think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the very worst you've ever seen in your entire life, and 10 being the best. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with what I see most of you are saying. I'm probably just going to give this a flat 7 or so. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Not too many things happening that are incorrect about it. Next up, I'm waiting for it to load off screen. I've seen this before. Why? I feel like I've seen this before. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not re-reviewing it unnecessarily. Let's see. Maelstro or something. All right. The header and nav bar, this all works pretty well. I don't have any major issues with this. Inspired by blah 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 blah. I think it's an unusual amount of white space between these two elements, and you might want to center it a little bit more and maybe think about getting rid of this little border. I mentioned when I was on the Free Code Camp live stream that I don't really like embedded YouTube videos like this. I'd like to use something a little bit more custom. They have like an API where you can choose your own graphic to have people play, because it just doesn't look that good in the user interface like this. These are working pretty well. You can still read because they're a little bit darker. The thumbnails. Type needs a little bit of work here because this is quite small, and then this is quite a bit larger. Traditionally, you would see this right here, the header. This would be the thing that's the largest element, and then anything beneath it would be either the same size or a little bit smaller. So I would work on that. This seems like it could be pushed over like this could be 2/3 of the width of the container, and then this could be 1/3 over here. That gives this main content a little bit more room. I like the colors and stuff. This isn't too bad down here. Let's see if it's responsive. And it is. What does everybody think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Yeah, I was telling people that in the chat before the live stream started, I was going to cut my hair real quick with the clippers like 30 minutes beforehand. So I was trying to rush, and I didn't put the attachment on it that controls how much hair it cuts. And so I just completely went like this, and it cut all the hair off. So I'm like extra short. Whatever, I've done that before. For me, I'm going to go ahead and give this a rating of, let's see. I'll do like a 6.7 or so. I think that's pretty decent. All right, here's another one. GitHub Users Searcher. There's not much really happening here, but one thing I'm thinking about, colors. There's just too many colors. We got colored drop shadows, which is almost impossible. It's very hard to get those correct. There's only a very small use case for that. I think I did a video on it, actually, earlier in the year. Outside of that, there I am. It says null. So I would work on the colors, but there's not enough user interface for me to even bother doing a rating for this. Experimental project. Okay, let's see. Let's check that out. Some interesting stuff happening here. All right. Okay. So my initial thought is too large. Everything's just scaled up way too big, like the type. And so I would definitely scale things down quite a bit, because you're like in this text, you're working inside of a container, and there's uneven white space, and you can kind of, like, if you're trying to do the whole modern approach where you're breaking outside of containers, you can do that, but you have to do it correctly. So, you know, with this type, it depends on how you want to do it. I just feel everything is just too large, in my opinion. More white space would work quite well. More white space. I mean, the logo's really large right here, this symbolism. So I think we just change that up. I mean, this right here is not really obvious that it's a menu. It's just hanging out in the middle. Like for this type, I would push this learn about or impact down more. This part's pretty decent right here, the way you've done this. I'd push this down just a tad bit more away from this element. Now this being kind of on top of it is okay in my opinion. So I like that you're experimenting with stuff. I just think the top part, I think the middle part's better than the top. But with things being really large like this, it just feels like it's too in my face, in my opinion. So, all right, what does everybody think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. I remember this photo from Unsplash. I've used it before. For me, I'm going to go ahead and give this a, let's see, get 6.8 or so. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Who is next? Who is next? Who is next? I think I might start. What the hell? Oh, okay. I think I might start requiring or not allowing prototypes. I like seeing live web projects just because dealing with prototypes can sometimes be a pain. All right, so one of those things. For your text fields or your input fields or for form elements, I wouldn't just rely on a single underline because they've tested this and studied it, and it's just bad for accessibility. Some people think they're like separators, and they're not sure where they can type. So you should always emphasize and show where the whole context is of the, or where the whole text element is, and you do that with a background or a border that goes all the way around. Log in. Again, nothing too majorly negative is happening here. A little bit too much on the borders. I would get rid of these borders. They're completely unnecessary. Might want to try to structure this information here a little bit more outside of just relying only on type, because you have quite a bit of things happening here. So I'm talking about like container, slightly different color backgrounds and stuff like that. All right, what does everybody think this person should get for a rating for their prototype here? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. It's definitely more than a 2. For me, I'm just going to give this one like a, yeah, like a 6 or so. I mean, there's nothing like really bad happening, but it's also, you know, not like spectacular or anything like that. Next up. I'm starting to hate prototypes. Yeah, I really am. This might be my last one. I like XD prototypes in the way their system is over Figma. They just make it easier. I'm able to just go straight into them rather than having to click play first. All right, looking at this. All right, so home search made simple. To me, this doesn't feel simple. You have this this building, which is that a home or is that an apartment? Well, I guess that could be a home. The big problem is where it says start your search. This whole section right here, which is the call to action, doesn't stand out enough, in my opinion. It seems quite bordery all over the place. You have a border up here. You have a real thin font weight right here. So these are kind of, in a sense, their own little mini borders. And then we have borders all over these right here. And you have quite a bit of buttons. Like, what is move in and move out? Oh, you're trying to move in. Okay. Or you're going to be moving out. I don't know. It seems like it's quite long. And like I said, it doesn't really stick out enough from the rest of everything. At least take the search button and make it like a complementary color to this this bluish type of color. A certain type of orange can work well. Coming down. All right, so now we're getting a little bit too cluttered here. We have a lot of type over here, and then we have the vertical type right next to it. I would try to simplify that more, and having a full navigation like this in this vertically transformed text it's generally a no-no. Like, you don't do that. You can do that for small things like social media, you know, just some tiny tidbits, but I wouldn't do that for this project in this context. There's some pretty decent things happening here. Small comment, I would push this over here so it starts on this column. This area seems pretty decent right here. Explore all cities down a little bit further. See more data. Everything's left aligned, but then this is to the right. I would push this over to the left. And again, try to style this text a little bit more differently. Maybe even just an underline or something like that. Because it's not, I don't know, it's just not obvious enough to me. So let me know what you all think for this rating, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Yeah, it needs white space around this area for sure. I'm going to go ahead and give this around a 6.8 or so. Seems like most of you are saying a little bit higher than that. That's fine, whatever. I made a Dribble clone for web developers. Alrighty then. All right. Drill. Like, how are you supposed to pronounce that? Drill? Drill. Oh my God. I can't. That's a very frustrating thing to try to say. Drill wool. Drill wool. I don't know. I might want to. You might have legal issues on your hands if you do that too. Drill wool. Anyhow, Drid. So if this is a dribble for web developers, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see your typical landing hero section. I want to see the actual projects. Like if you go to Dribble, you see the projects right here. They don't waste time on, like, you know, get started and all that stuff. We want to see the projects. and then people know to sign up, like in the thing, if they want to participate. So having said that, I'd push that down just a tad bit to get started slightly. I mean, this is also confusing to me because you have, I don't know, you're using a very distinct color scheme, and then it starts off and then changes everything up, so you feel like on your different site possibly. So I would work on that. But yeah, I actually want to see projects. You may not have any because you're just starting this, but yeah, I can only judge what I see or don't see. All right, so let me all know what you think this person gets. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I know there's not much here. Maybe it's not really worth doing a rating for this one. I don't want to log in though. Unless there's like a fake. Oh. There was. I didn't see it. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. User hasn't posted anything yet. So I would take them directly to this page. And I would also show these cards. Now I have to be honest, I kind of like these cards better. Because first of all, you have alignment issues right here. I mean, the width of these should be all the way out because it's throwing off the layout otherwise. So I would definitely fix that. Recent posts, too close up here to your nav bar, so I push that down. Like, watch how much better this will look if I just take this and do a margin top of like 3M units. It just looks a lot better, and a little bit more margin down away from recent posts. So yeah, definitely check that out. And you know, I would definitely consider. And plus, if people click on the logo, it shouldn't take you to the person's account page. They would rather go to the home page where it lists out all the latest or the most popular entries. All right, so I'm not going to bother with a rating for that because we already rated it. Next up, this is an online learning platform. I hope you like it. I'll let it load first. Alrighty. Pretty decent area up here for the navigation. I feel like everything is the same exact color in this region. All the type, same exact color. I would want to differentiate that a little bit more. Try for free would be best if it was filled in with this color and the text white. That way it'd stand out a little bit more. Select your topic and start your journey. Okay. I don't know about these cards, especially the content inside of them. Like I would probably have like a sentence or two, or maybe just one sentence underneath, and then kind of do this sort of list-based thing. The start your lesson or start lesson right here button being close to this faded out area, it doesn't look that good. I would create more white space between those elements. Learn everywhere, every time. This part's not too bad. This is pretty good here. That's pretty decent. Again, I would probably just slightly take the contrast down of these the descriptions right here. All right, alignment issues. Like we have this part that says 532 users. We push that over here to the right. Button could use work. Read more is kind of, I think we need more white space on the left and right. Kind of a little bit tiny text down here. All right, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Let me know what you think this person should get. For me, let's go ahead and give this a 6.9. We're close to a 7 or a 7 or so. Right around there. Next up, my portfolio. Okay, this is taking a while over here. All right, there was some animation, this loading stuff. Hold on a second here. Let's refresh it. Yeah, that takes quite a while. All right, so this, I would change this just because there's no context here. I'm not really sure. The face is strange to me. The expression, it almost makes me think like this could be like a landing page for a movie about a killer or something. Just because it's like you're not happy here at all. So I'm wondering, yeah, about that choice. So I like that you're trying to be creative or whatever, but just saying hello, people might just click right off of this. It's like, what is happening here? So rethink that area. All right, so this is a pretty nice section right here. I like the type, although no one's going to be able to read the about, skills, experience, and study. You need to do a search on my channel. I've done videos on this, on color contrast for typography. All right, so this is just not enough information. Web developing, build a web application with responsive design. I'm going to make the assumption that maybe English isn't your native language. We need to, first of all, try to get better verbiage here, and then also fill this out more. You can put a lot more content in here. It's just not enough information. Same thing with this over here. So yeah, we want to rethink this, especially the top part. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Somebody said, "Sir, you were great for me, but not now." I don't even know what that means. All right, you stop that. Timeout. Someone's getting a timeout. There we go. No spamming. No spamming. All right, for me, I'm going to give this one, we're going to go with like around a 4 or so. All right. I think that's pretty decent. All right. Hey there. So I'm sending you a couple projects for you to choose from. All right, let's check this out. I'm going to let it load on the other monitor. I'll just choose the first one just for the heck of it. I don't really have any reason why. I've given over 9s in the past, by the way. Never given a 10, but there's been multiple 9 pluses, like 9 point somethings. All right, Imagination Africa. Okay, English, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is okay. The logo, make sure you get an SVG format because I can see it's pixelated. It must be a PNG or a JPEG or something like that. Issue with the text being overlapped by this section over here. Push this over to the right if you're going to do that, or scale it down. That way you can create separation. Probably bring this up a bit closer to this headline right here. More white space on the top separating these two elements just a little bit. I think overall more white space vertically between these pretty much almost all of these elements to separate things out a little bit more because it's a little bit cluttered in this area. Better image photo editing because this just looks cheap because you can see that this was probably cut out with Photoshop, but the white background was not removed here. Better situating, you know, this right here just being flat cut off. It'd be nice to have this as a part of this container that this kid, you know, that would fit into this thing better, the white or the orange section. Better card design, more padding on the inside. Probably get rid of the borders around this and maybe just use a very light gray, extremely light gray, only a couple shades lighter than white on the background, and then that way you can see the card outline. All right, there's a lot happening here, but I think that's a good overview of what we can do for the most part for most of the design. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Let me know what you think. Yeah, them all being like orange like this, I would make those black personally. Let's see what this works out responsively. Yeah, big issues there. Don't want that to happen. Definitely not. All right, so for me, I'm going to give this one around a 5.5 or so. That is not a cup of coffee, by the way. This here, it says coffee, but it's just complete water. All water. All right. Next up. Oh, next up. I know who's next up. It's none of you. It is our sponsor, because we're halfway through. So our sponsor, of course, is porkbun.com, and they offer free .design domain names. It's linked here in the top YouTube description. So if you're a designer and you want to have a portfolio, .design makes a lot of sense. It's used by large companies like Adobe and other large companies, and also free Whois privacy, free SSL certificates, hosting trial, and email trial. So why not take advantage of this? Definitely an awesome offer, and they're the sponsor of this live stream. Next up, is this the one I just seen or not? No, I didn't. All right. Let's refresh this. That is pixelated, by the way. That's not in SVG. That should be SVG. There's pixelation right here. This looks cheap right away. So you don't want that. The photograph of yourself, it looks kind of interesting. I don't know. To me, it looks like maybe trying a little hard to look like a model or something. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Do you guys agree, or am I just being too critical? I mean, it's not a bad photograph, though. I like the actual background. It fits the color scheme. Hello, I'm blah, blah, blah. Full stack web developer and freelancer. This part's not too bad, but I think like you could move down this whole section. So like margin top. Maybe like 4M units. Now we space out things a little bit more. Here's the original. Yeah, I think things just need to be spaced out a little bit more, and because everything's very uniform, and it feels like there's quite a bit of stuff happening here. Coming down, I think the sponsor's website, by the way, could be improved. All right, first you're going to want to spell believe correctly. You can completely get rid of the box shadow here. There. Looks so much cleaner already. And if you're trying to do the whole, breaking out of the container design trend, that's fine. I would probably restructure this a little bit differently, just because I don't like how it ends here inside of the container, but this one's out. Like, I think both should be out and breaking out a little bit. So this used to be real popular, like in the Web 2.0 era, of like putting things in monitors and stuff. I don't think it looks that good or makes that much sense anymore. I'd prefer just to have like card design, sort of like this. Although I wouldn't use this background color. I make that white. It just kind of looks strange in my opinion. You don't want to have big areas of white that are just hair, even if it's only for a half second. So make things come in. You have a lot of white space in this area, which doesn't make sense to me. And again, the design of the text fields need to be improved a bit. You have an unnecessary inner shadow, so try to get rid of those types of things. Like this icon right here, I really like this icon. You probably didn't design it, but there's no glows or drop shadows or anything like that. All right, so 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you people think this person should be rated? On mobile, I would take this image of yourself down big time. Give it some white space all around it. It's just way too large. Yeah, again, just going to kind of be around a little bit above the middle of the road, or kind of the average submission, I would say. So for me, I'm going to give this a 6.5. I don't know why that didn't Anna. There we go. 6.5. All right. Next up. Who is next? Freelancing platform for Middle East under development. Let's see if I can translate this. And this is one of those unfortunate situations where if I try to translate it, it changes the typeface and it all just looks like garbage. So if I refresh this, the font that's being used here is a lot better than what the English translates it to, which is like this ugly, like Times New Roman serif font. But looking at this for what it is, it's really hard for me to judge things based on not being able to read it. So I'm just not going to be able to. These cards look pretty good right here. I'm just not used to seeing this language, so it's throwing me off a bit. It seems like this is a pretty decent design, but again, it's hard for me to look past the strange type. So it looks good, but again, I'm not even going to bother with the writing on that one. Because and especially if I translate it, it's going to really kill the design because the font it changes to is horrible. Trying to rebuild my portfolio as I was on mom duty leave for 2 years. Alrighty. I'm not Scanly. Let's see, Scanly. I'll just check out one of them. Kind of strange type font, like where it says login being so close to the logo. It doesn't really make sense to have the logo right here on top of the form. This is ordinarily where the login label would go. And then also username and password, just there's a lot of white space on the left. It should be probably pushed over more. So small things like that I'm noticing. Again, I wish I could kind of see this a little bit larger. Doesn't look too bad though. Noticing like the gray of song name, it just kind of looks not of a good, quite a good color choice. One thing though, like the color being, this background color being the same color practically of these backgrounds, it's kind of hard to really focus on the designs themselves. So I'm not going to bother with the rating just because it's a portfolio of not a specific project. My project about 5 years ago for some football school. I'm not sure what you mean about years ago. Did you mean like you made this years ago? All right. Let's refresh that. I think we had some animation. All right, this whole section right here could be made so much larger. So, you know, take this, font size 30 pixels. We can go 5 M units on that at least. And then the free trial button, that could definitely be made larger. So font size says 12 pixels. There we go, 1.5 M units. So this looks so much better. Let's refresh it. Than this. It's just way too small. Outside of that, more line height, left alignedness, that would be better. Again, all the type is just too small. Let's check out responsiveness. Looks like it is. What do you think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Thank you, T20S Grunt. You were a former super chatter, I believe. So let's check out that. Oh, well, let's rate this one first. Yeah, for me, this is going to be like just a flat 6, in my opinion. All right, next up is the super chatter. Where's that? What the hell? Oh, right here. Okay. Reworking resume site. Did this in 5 hours. Still under construction. Let's refresh this. I would have some sort of animated scroll icon just so I know what to do. This right here, I did a video recently about full screen navigations. This isn't a full screen navigation. It's kind of like a third screen navigation. It's kind of cool the way you did it, but honestly, it's a bad UX pattern to have hamburger menus on full desktops like this, just because it requires 2 clicks. As opposed to just having this all those links being shown somewhere in the user interface, usually up here as a horizontal navigation. So just something to consider there. So this part's okay. It looks like I notice for me, I'm very particular about alignment. Like the About Me seems like it's pushed in slightly by about 15 pixels. And so that's one of these tiny things that annoy me. All right, so this part here is pretty good. I may want to emphasize one over the other compared to these types and this headline. So, you know, you could do something because they're almost a little bit too similar. So font weight 500. What happens if I go bold? Well, that does nothing. Font, where's font size? I think like changing it to 1 M unit makes more sense, or even maybe like 0.9 possibly, and that way you create more of a separation between both of those pieces of type. You could even do like, oh, you already have text transform. Uppercase, I think that looks cool. So just something to consider. So if I refresh it, you'll see the original. Oh, I hate when that happens because then you aren't able to tell as much. Let's see here. All right, fairly decent here. Probably make these bold right here, and maybe a different. Let me see if I can do something about it. I have fun doing this type of stuff. Oh, I can't because of the way these are the HTML structured. These are both like the same element. All right, overall, it's pretty modern. Some of the things that you're doing, it's pretty decent. I'm not sure about this border right here being red. I don't know. I'd have to see what I think. Yeah, overall, though, it's pretty decent, I would say. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you think this person should get? So, Ankith Reddy. Oh, Discord name. Okay, I found it. Yeah, for this one, I think I'm just going to give a flat out 7. That seems to work pretty decently. All right. Let's continue on. Where's my Discord? All right. There was a super chat. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think this is going to be one of our last ones. All right. Can you review my food app design? No. Absolutely not. No, I will. Okay. Log in with phone number. So you have a label and then you have an important, like a code right here. They're styled exactly the same. One should be styled differently. All right. More white space on the inner portion of this, I would say. Username. This is strange to me because you have a label here which is nowhere near enough contrast, but there's no label here, so it's inconsistent. Again, more white space on the inside of this container. Again, with the search, if you're going to have, a label inside of here, make sure they can actually see it. There's not enough contrast. Definitely want to boost that up. Like I said, more white space on the inner portions. All right, let me know what you think. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. All right, there's one more super chat. That's going to be the very last one. Do not send any more super chats at this point. Also, I would make this like black or something because a lot of the type is all the same color. So you want to differentiate those a lot more. Yeah, for me, I'm going to give this one a... like a 5.3 or so. Next up is going to be chocolate banana. All right. Portfolio business website. I did use a theme from ThemeForest, but would still like some advice on the copywriting and customizations I've made. Well, I'm not going to know which customizations you've made. But because you did pay me, we'll do it. Oh my God, another person sent me a super chat. I said not to send me another super chat. No more super chats. All right, this is too cluttered because of the amount of different areas that have different colors. So this color is like this green, but then this is a yellow here. They're close to each other in the hue, which is not good. So I would simplify that in that realm. I like the call to action and sub call to action. That's pretty good. Might be a tad bit busy having this animated illustration right here plus all of this. Coming down. Again, I've been seeing this sort of thing a lot lately. I've seen it like the past week or two, like a bunch of people doing this thing where these cards or these little blips are all like really styled differently, even though they're the same. I'm not sure if I like that much, because you're emphasizing these three over the others just through the amount of the tension that these have with all the colors and the contrast. Cards aren't too bad here. Might want to push this down a tad bit more, the descriptions of each one. This is pretty decent right here. Might want more white space between the sections right there. All right, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What does everybody think? For me, I'm going to go ahead and give this one like a 6.9. Yeah. All right. Next up is going to be our last one. All right. So let's find that. Caution, may break on 4K display. All right. Thank you all for the super chats, those who sent them, by the way. So, okay, yes, you are right. It definitely breaks on a 4K resolution. All right. So let's just bring this in. Okay, so first of all, there's a number of issues here. We're using a lot of different fonts. We have this script font up here with not enough white space between each of the links here. We have this right here, which is that Trajan Pro? Trajan? No, it's called Sincel. It's very similar. And then we have this font, Quicksand. So you're using 3 different typefaces, and you don't want to do that. So I probably wouldn't use this. I would ditch this script font right here, and then maybe just use Quicksand up here, and also separate those out more so. The About Me, Skills, Resume, Contact Me, those aren't that's not good for your call to actions because not one is emphasized over the other visually. So you always want to have a primary call to action that sticks out the most over others, and then at most have 1 to 2 secondary call to actions, not just like your whole navigation, essentially, almost your whole navigation split out here, because having too many options for a visitor is not a good thing. So you want to emphasize the one that makes the most sense. So skills or resume might be that, and then secondary to that could be About Me and Contact Me. You're not showing any of your projects. Oh, actually, projects would probably be the one thing people want to see the most. They want to see what you're capable of doing. So maybe that should be your primary call to action. So let's just look at projects. Again, probably a new developer here because there's not much here available. Yeah, this is a little bit too much. I mean, having all these circular elements here, it's just kind of I would try to list these out a little bit better. And plus, I'm not a fan of having progress bars. Instead, I would do probably years of experience or amount of experience. Just because if somebody needs a Python developer and you're only showing 3 out of 10, it's one of those things that, depending on what they need, it might be simple, but they see 3 out of 10 and they're not going to want to hire you. So that's the reason for that. So 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Let me know what you think this person should get. By the way, no more super chats because we're going to be done here. For me, I'm going to have to go ahead and rate this one a 4 or so. Yeah. Maybe like a 4.5. All right, awesome. All right, so that is it for today's live stream. Again, this is brought to you by Pork Bun, who offers free .design domains. So if you're a designer, their site's not loading. There it goes. If you're a designer, definitely consider using this for your portfolio or your design-related business. Big companies like Adobe are using .design already, and you get free Who Is Privacy, free SSL certs, free hosting trial, and free email trial. So at the top, the link is right here. Just click on it and get your free .design domain name today. All right, it's been fun, and I will see you guys real soon. Expect a video either on this Monday or Tuesday on the YouTube channel.